The 2020 NFL draft class was highlighted by players like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Justin Jefferson, and they are now 2 full years into their NFL careers. Some, like Joe Burrow for example, have paid huge dividends to the franchise that selected them, while others may be on the verge of becoming a word no one wants to be associated with, and that is an NFL draft bust. And like we do with other NFL draft classes, we are going to be grading the pick 2 years later. We will be grading picks 1 through 16 in today's video and be going in reverse order, so we will be starting with the 16th pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, which was corner AJ Tyrell of the Atlanta Falcons, and eventually finishing with Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. So without further ado, let's begin. Corner AJ Tyrell is up first, and through 2 years, the Atlanta Falcons have not had a lot of success in the win column, but Tyrell has held his own and then some. Sure, he had a little bit of a rough start to his career in 2020, as what rookie corner wouldn't, given it was a COVID year with no preseason to get any sort of adjustment to NFL game speed aside from practice, and even practice has its limitations. From Tyrell, Okudah, Henderson, whoever, they should have been expected to fail for at least the first quarter of their rookie seasons, if we're being honest. But Tyrell was a second-team All-Pro player in 2021, and while this team is missing quite a lot all over their roster, they have some studs in their 2020 and 2021 first-round picks in AJ Tyrell and Kyle Pitts. 2 years later, Tyrell gets an A+. Jeudy is the epitome of situation matters. His first 2 years have been a combination of quarterbacks like Drew Lock, Jeff Driscoll, Brett Rippon, Kendall Hinton for the game, and Teddy Bridgewater. However, I don't think Jeudy would be a Justin Jefferson type player if he had Kirk Cousins or better, as Jeudy did in his own rights drop a lot of balls in 2020 and unfortunately missed some time this past year due to a high ankle sprain. I do believe Jeudy is a good football player and think he is very capable of having an 80-catch, 1,000-yard year, but we have not seen the production yet, as in 2 total years. He has 90 catches for just over 1,300 yards. What has to be remembered is the situation he's in, and hopefully that changes this offseason. Through 2 years, Jeudy gets a C-. Javon Kinlaw was the 49ers' first-round selection and has not had a great start to his career. He didn't have a bad rookie season by any means and was hurt a lot in year 2 and suffered a season-ending injury. What's particularly tough for Kinlaw is this pick was acquired through the trade for DeForest Buckner from the Colts, and his NFL comp in the draft process was, ironically, Buckner. He was kind of expected to have a great start to his career and hasn't exactly had that yet. But with Nick Bosa being the player he is though, and Javon notably having the hungry dog mindset if you will, and coming off an injury, I expect him to have a good year 3, I really do. His grade for now though is a C, though I expect it to climb a lot in 2022. The final of the big 4 of tackles from this class was the Bucs' first-round selection, and it was Tristan Wirfs from Iowa. There was a huge debate between Wirfs and Jedrick Wills and who was the better tackle and everything you can think of in between. For Wirfs specifically, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say he couldn't have had a better start to his career. He has 2 Pro Bowls and technically 1 because of an injury this year, but he was voted in, he just couldn't play in the game itself, and protected the GOAT, and well at that. 2 Pro Bowls, a Super Bowl ring, and a first-team All-Pro. What more could you want? A+ for Tristan Wirfs. I think we know what selection was next, and if you do not, this was Henry Ruggs of the Las Vegas Raiders. Speaking on the draft pick on the football player part in Ruggs, and Henry was on pace to have a good 2021 season. He had already set a career high in yards with 469 in 7 games and would have more than likely been a 1,000-yard receiver in his second season, and at the latest this year. The Pro Bowl would have been very lofty expectations given how many good receivers there are currently, but I really do think Henry would have been a receiver on this team for 7 to 10 years, if not longer. And you really can't grade this pick because of what ifs and the fact John Gruden and Mike Mayock had absolutely zero idea what was going to happen when they made the selection. No one did. An incomplete grade on the Ruggs selection. The third tackle of the draft was big boy Mekhi Becton to the New York Jets. He has played just 15 games in 2 years and played just 1 in all of 2021. It would have been nice to see him protect Zach Wilson in his rookie year, but unfortunately we did not get that. With Becton being as big as he is, being compared to the average tackle, health will always be brought up with him moving forward, and 2022 will truly be a make or break year for Mekhi. We're basing this off of 1 year of play with him, and the grade now is a C. Tackle Jedrick was at Cleveland at 10, and he initially looked like one of the biggest steals in the draft, as he had a pretty good rookie season. His 2021 year was not as great for several reasons, some due to poor play, some due to injuries, and COVID and the rest of the team failing to perform at the level they were expected to heading into the year. All of these guys that have not had the best starts to their careers are entering make or break years, because after the third year of a former first-round pick, the decision whether or not to pick up their fifth-year option is made. Jedrick certainly falls into this category along with several others, and through 2 years, Jed gets a C. Corner CJ Henderson to the Jags, not the Panthers, which is where he plays now, was the selection. He was a very highly rated corner coming out of Florida, but just over a year into his career, he was traded for a couple of draft picks and Dan Arnold, a tight end. Because Jacksonville made this selection, we are grading the production CJ gave them, not the production from Dan Arnold or the production they will get from the draft pick used in this trade. And it was an F. Isaiah Simmons, the true unicorn from Clemson to Arizona, was number 8, and he basically had a redshirt year in 2020 before being fully unleashed this past year. He had over 100 tackles, played nearly everywhere, and in some ways is a Micah Parsons light for the team in the desert. He's a very good player, and it's almost like players need some time to transition to the NFL, and not every NFL player will be the Jamar Chase of their position in year 1. And if Micah Parsons is a good pass rusher that can do it all, Isaiah is sort of like that, but for pass coverage. They're both unicorns in their own ways. 2 years later, Isaiah Simmons gets an A, though I think it will be an A+ a year from now. Defensive tackle Derrick Brown was the Panthers' first-round selection, and the problem isn't the right word, but situation, if you will, when you look at this pick, is this team isn't good, and they haven't made the playoffs in nearly 5 years, and you think, wow, a defensive tackle on a losing team, what an underwhelming pick. But Derrick Brown is a good football player, and the first 2 years of his career have proved that. What will suck for Derrick and every other defensive tackle moving forward, especially ones drafted in the first half of the first round, will be constant comparisons to Aaron Donald. Like, oh, let's compare Trevor Lawrence to Tom Brady. Oh, yeah, he sucks. He's not going to be able to be that player. You see where I'm going? Panthers fans know Derrick Brown is a good player and will continue to be one, in A grade. Justin Herbert is the next superstar or monumental bust. Take your side. That was the conversation 2 years ago. Herbert was a very polarizing player when he came out of the University of Oregon, and everyone had a right to feel whichever way they did on the spectrum. In his first 2 years, he has 69 passing touchdowns, a Rookie of the Year award, and a Pro Bowl. This is pretty clearly an A+ pick for Los Angeles, as they went from Rivers to Herbert seamlessly, and they have their guy for the next decade. Tua Tagovailoa was the Dolphins' first-round pick, and what's unfortunate for Tua is the same thing with Jalen Reagor. You see who was selected immediately after them and almost automatically think, damn, what could have been? Tua certainly hasn't been great in 2 seasons, as he has just 27 touchdowns, and to be fair to Dolphins fans, he hasn't played a full season yet, but he also hasn't been a franchise-altering quarterback like the other 2 of the big 3 from this class have. A true performance grade on Tua is hard to place, and I'm not copping out and giving an incomplete grade, because we will have to wait and see, but for today's, Tua's grade is a C. Tackle Andrew Thomas was the first of the tackles taken, and Giants fans know a lot of the media was not fond of him over the first 6 to 7 games of his rookie season, in which even Giants fans would admit wasn't great. However, for a very forgettable 2021 season, and especially on the offensive side of the ball for the Giants, Andrew was good and proved he can be a franchise tackle for a very long time. This may be a surprise to some people, but he was a very good player, and 2 years in, gets an A. Corner Jeff Okudah was the Detroit Lions' first-round pick and the highest corner selected in quite some time. Like we said with Tyrell, it should have been expected for every single rookie corner to struggle in 2020, given the circumstances. It was truly inevitable, especially early on for rookie corners, and it didn't help Jeff missed his second season after playing in a very abnormal rookie year. I really do think Okudah and Amani Oruwariye can become a good corner duo in the Motor City, but for now this grade is tough because of a COVID year and an injury year, and it is incomplete. The then Washington football team, now Commanders, drafted Chase Young at number 2, and Young had a great rookie season. He won the Rookie of the Year and proved all the hype was in fact worth it. However, he did not have a great second season prior to tearing his ACL, and like his former Buckeye teammate Nick Bosa, who also tore his ACL in year 2, I expect Chase to come back and dominate in a big way in year 3, like Nick Bosa did this past year. For now though, the pick is a B+, because of one good season and one not good half season, and I fully expect him to have 12 plus sacks this year. Finally, we have reached Joe Burrow. Joe had an okay rookie season and was outshined by Justin Herbert, and there's no shame in that given the year Herbert had. There were a lot of questions entering 2021 for Joe in Cincinnati. Did they make the right selection in Jamar Chase? Will Joe and Jamar have the same chemistry? Will they win games, or was this a way to sell tickets for the notorious cheap Bengals owner? Well, they answered every question there was and then some this past year. Joe is a franchise quarterback, and for the first time in what seems like a very long time, they have serious hope and serious contention for Super Bowls for years to come. An A+ selection. And that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel because it would truly mean the world. And until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.